In this pristine land of fire and ice, almost everyone relies on highly polluting fuels like gas and diesel. The sustainable energy revolution hasn't made much headway this far north. Engineer Marek Jakinski is going to change all that. He's bringing river power to remote communities across Alaska. From his base in Anchorage, Marek is flying 245 miles southwest to Igiugig.
All right, thanks. Yeah, Igiugig is a neat town. They're a little more progressive than some other villages in Alaska, maybe if they're adoptants of renewables and things like that.
On the south bank of the Kvichak River, Igiugig has a population of 68, consisting mainly of the Yupik, Aleuts, and Athabaskan Indians. The leader of the tribal council in Igiugig is Alexana Salmon.
Igiugig is my home. It's the safest, most welcoming place to raise my children. Igiugig has always had very, very strong cultural and environmental values. If you look at these riverbanks here, our people have lived here for over 8,000 years continuously. And we've survived off of our salmon and our caribou species, and you cannot see a footprint for 8,000 years of inhabitation here on this river. And this river has provided everything that we've needed as far as food, water, and security, and energy, basically. So it just makes sense in 2022 that we're using it to harness energy to power the community. Oh my goodness. Oh, this is epic.
Martha Crow is third-generation Yupik and was born and raised in Igiugig. After spending time as a reindeer herder, she is now one of the village teachers.
We have such a spiritual, holistic approach to the land with the creatures that are in the land, creatures that feed us, like moose and caribou, salmon. This whole area, it owns our soul. We don't own it. It owns us.
Alexana's younger brother, John Salmon, is a commercial fisherman by trade and also a prominent member of the village council.
You, as a small community, end up relying on each other. That kind of brings you closer. It's a spiritual freedom to be able to go out and acquire food off the land. It is healthy for your soul. And the food is good too.
Until 2014, Igiugig was 100% reliant on dirty and expensive diesel.
Diesel itself is an environmental hazard, especially to waterways, right? Because fuel gets in water and it can go very far. We could drop fuel in the water here, down the river it goes. Next thing you know, we have 12 miles of contaminated shoreline.
But now, a third of all the power in the village is provided by this. It's called the RivGen, an underwater turbine propelled by the fast-flowing river. As it turns, it powers a generator linked to the local grid.
The Igiugig project started in 2014. The project harnesses some of the power from the river to produce electricity for the village as a way to kind of reduce their dependency on diesel. This is our shore station. Further out on the river, you see there's 2 buoys out there and a couple signs. So our system is actually underwater on the river there, and we have cabling that runs underground all the way from the island up here to the Connex, and this has all of our powered electronics inside of it. So we're just opening this up. I'm going to check some of the onboard systems really quick and make sure everything's good to go there.
To make sure the RivGen survives a harsh Alaskan winter, it needs an annual service. To carry it out, Marek will have to raise the machine from the riverbed. If he fails, Igiugig could be forced back to being solely reliant on diesel.
There's an enormous amount of pressure to get systems, especially systems that are underwater, ready to go operational so that they're ready for their wintertime. Once we're done out there, this device is going through the winter by itself, and it needs to be in tip-top shape to make it through that. Winter in Alaska is pretty brutal, and it's pretty brutal underwater also.
In the small town of Igiugig, engineer Marek Jakinski gets ready for essential maintenance on the village's river turbine. His right-hand man for the job is Igiugig local John Salmon.
John kind of wears his heart on his sleeve a little bit. You can tell on his face when he's visibly frustrated with something and the progress that's happening. You guys ready?
Ready.
In Igiugig, our first attempt at getting the RivGen up was met with some pretty harsh realities.
Record rainfall in the last few weeks means the river is over 40 feet deep. That's over 10 feet deeper than normal.
That building sits on a lawn when the water's low. When I was out here 2 weeks ago, that thing was on grass, and now it's underwater.
The swollen river makes this Marek's most difficult and dangerous retrieval to date.
We are working around pretty tight lines and some heavy-duty equipment. We need to be very mindful of where people are standing. You know, worst case scenario, I think, is if we have a man overboard or somebody gets hurt while we're working.
John carefully guides the boat toward the marker buoy.
Come forward a little bit, John.
The buoy is attached to a line that leads down to the RivGen turbine on the riverbed. Partway down the line are a set of air hoses. These feed directly into the two big blue pontoons either side of the turbine. Marek is trying to drag the air hoses to the surface.
Oh, we gotta pull a little more up, actually.
Had to brag about getting the strong ones.
Yeah. Oh, man. You want to tie off your slack? I'll hold it. Tie on this front cleat here.
If he succeeds, he'll attach them to a compressor on board the boat. The water will then be blown out of the pontoons and filled with air, allowing the RivGen to float to the surface.
That's deep.
Stuck on the bottom?
What's that?
Is it stuck?
I don't know. It's pretty damn tight, though.
I bet that fast water flow is sending pebbles rolling down the bottom of the river and they buried it.
With the high water levels and the current flowing at over 17,000 cubic feet per second, the line attached to the RivGen has become completely buried in rocks and gravel.
There's a chain that sometimes gets stuck in the gravel in the bottom of the river. I think we're pulling against that right now. But we gotta figure something out here.
Why doesn't, let me try to tug on it a little bit.
Yeah, here's the boat motor to help pull us out.
Marek and the team have hold of the line,
I can feel it popping up off the bottom. It's covered in rock.
but now it's a balancing act of freeing the line from the gravel without sinking the boat.
We gotta be careful because if the bow of that boat, the gunnel goes under the current, there's no coming back out.
As we were working on retrieving the RivGen, you know, there was a couple times when the hull of the boat tipped pretty close to the water.
As the crew struggle to keep the boat upright, they know that if the line breaks, they'll lose contact with the RivGen.
Oh yeah, get back in here.
Yeah. We're pretty close to the chain. I mean, that's only like a 30-foot line we put on it.
We're pretty close to going under is what we are. Well, that's as much as we're going to go into the water.
Did we get anything?
That didn't look like anything. I do like pulling from chain better. I don't like the idea of that line popping.
Man, it just goes tight so fast. Can you go upstream a little bit? We'll keep going until the line breaks. Hopefully it doesn't break.
Go ahead and tie that off.
Okay. I saw the chain.
You saw the chain, huh?
Yeah, it's about 3 feet down. Yeah, you're pretty close.
The pull brought the chain up, but also tugged the boat's hull down into the water.
We have so much water just hanging out now. Yeah, we got to get this water out.
Yeah.
The river temperature is an icy 32 degrees, and if the skiff takes on any more water, it's going under. Marek and John have no choice but to back off and hope the river gives them another chance.